Hello and welcome to Aspen Air. I am your host, Elizabeth Drolet. Today we're speaking with the very talented painter and musician, Olivia Daane. We're going to share her language art to Aspen and the rest of the world. Hi, Olivia. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you so much for joining us today. First of all, how would you describe your art and the current Butterfly series that you're working on?
Big question. So I began painting when I was a very little girl. My mom was a painter. She had her easel out all the time, but she always had to put it away. And she didn't pursue it as a final career, but she was a wonderful portrait artist. Long story short, I kept painting. I got involved with the studio art program very early on, in grade school, in high school, and then in college at Vanderbilt. And then I went to Florence, Italy, studied there, worked for an artist in Paris, whom I now ironically represent in my gallery, which maybe we'll talk about later too. So I always loved painting. I loved the arts in general. The Butterfly series started in about, gosh, I want to say 2008. And a client asked me, a repeat offender, asked me to do a butterfly, a monarch. And I sort of thought, oh God, butterfly, okay.
Yeah.
And at the time I was doing a magpie series, which I thought was really cool because they're symbols of good fortune in Asian culture, but they're our garbage bird. And you'll find my work often has those dichotomies, the things that coexist, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the fragile, the strong. So I did this butterfly and I loved it. I thought I love color, I love gesture, I love, all my work has words in it as well, and the butterfly for me became a very good central focal point for what I wanted to do around the butterfly.
Okay.
And I was invited to show at the Bridge Art Fair in Miami during Art Basel, and I was nervous about it. It's a big contemporary fair, and I thought, well, I've been doing these little butterflies that were like 8 by 8 inches. And I was like, I will do a big butterfly.
Okay.
You know, so I did one big Japanese butterfly called the Parantica Sita. And people went nuts over this butterfly. And that's where they began. And that was 2008, and it's now 2014, and they've been put on the Corzo tequila bottle. They have flown all over the world to lots of different clients and brought a lot of joy to people. So that's where they began, and they're still going.
You know, Olivia, endangered species seem to be a consistent theme in your paintings. Can you tell me where this interest came from?
That's a good question. Again, they basically appeared in my work when I noticed that so many species were disappearing so quickly. I can't remember if it was, you know, at a U2 concert when he had like the numbers of the population, and you know, something triggered it in me, and I thought, I have kids. Are they going to get to see this planet? And I'm like Nancy Drew when I paint, and someone gives me a project, especially with a commission, I feel like I'm on a treasure hunt. So even all my paintings come with keys so that you know what the symbols mean, you know what the semiotics are, you know what the words are. So I started to research different species and looked at these numbers. Canon Photography did a wonderful campaign in National Geographic, and I've always gotten those magazines. And you open it up and it says like the Apennine, you know, there are 2,000 left, this is where they live, this is why. And I just started thinking very consciously about what is our planet going to look like when my children, whom are now 6 and almost 15, when they're adults.
Your profound interest in words is what leads me to my next question. In each painting, there's a group of words, and you spoke about that. Can you tell more about the word side of your paintings?
Yeah, clearly. I mean, I just love the line of words. So I speak languages. I traveled extensively growing up, and I would be thrown into situations where I didn't speak the language, and we had to come up with a way to communicate. So I became interested in how the Cyrillic alphabet was different than our alphabet. And I love, like I said, just the line of them. I love writing song lyrics. So often, the first thing I do when I paint is often write a poem. I was a 16th century English major at Vanderbilt, and it's the moving picture. It's the idea of procrastination. And procrastination will have a verse next to it and also be an image of a person who represents procrastination. So the idea of word and image combined was very natural for me. But I also see musical notes, and the semiotics of music is like a language. And I'm sort of fascinated by the idea of the direction that you're supposed to look at a book, read a book, look at a painting, see a painting. So I put a lot of arrows in my work. And right now, my daughter just looked at me the other day, and she goes, I read The Greatest Book. And I was like, you read The Greatest Book? So I'm really fascinated by disruptive technology, too, and the growth of that.
Oh,
And
that's interesting.
where,
It's a scroll. As
yeah,
opposed to
right. And
open
tap,
book.
tap. Tap, tap is a disruptive technology. So the cross-hatching, those are the very beginnings of language. Like when, I guess people were standing there going, you know, is it day one? Is it day two? I don't know. I'm fascinated by that and how we're changing our use of language and gesture via technology.
That's really interesting. I'm going to switch things entirely. We've been talking about you as artists, and I want to talk more about you as a musician. So what can you tell me about that?
Oh man, music. I just think out of all of the artistic mediums, music brings the world together.
Everything and nothing at all matters when you let yourself fall. I wanna come home, but I wander too far. Too far.
Without the bridge, okay.
Before you told me you were leaving, I had thought that you were worth believing. But I'm not perfect, and you're not really here for me. And all the stories you would tell me left me helpless. Now I'm set free, but I'm not perfect. But I've got love to give.